Dr. Alex Rodriguez had been floating through space for 3 years now, and honestly, he was getting pretty tired of it. Working as a space scientist aboard the research ship Starlight wasn't exactly the adventure he'd imagined when he signed up. Most days were filled with boring data collection and endless reports about distant planets that looked like every other planet he'd seen. But today was different. Today changed everything. Alex was in the ship's lab, looking through his microscope at some space dust samples when the emergency alarm started blaring. The sound echoed through the metal corridors like a screaming banshee. Captain Williams's voice crackled over the intercom, sounding more excited than Alex had heard him in months. All crew to stations. We've got an unknown vessel on our scanners. This is not a drill. Alex's heart started racing. In 3 years of deep space travel, they'd never encountered anything more interesting than a broken satellite. He rushed to the bridge, where the entire crew was gathered around the main screen. What he saw took his breath away. Floating in the darkness of space was a ship unlike anything in their databases. It looked almost alive, with smooth curves that seemed to pulse with a soft blue light. The vessel was about half the size of their research ship, but there was something elegant about it that made their own ship look clunky and primitive. "It's been drifting for who knows how long," said Dr. Lisa Chen, their communications expert. "We're picking up a faint distress signal, but it's in no language our computers recognize." Captain Williams stroked his gray beard, a habit he had when making tough decisions. Could be dangerous, could be a trap, or it could be the discovery of a lifetime, Alex found himself saying. Everyone turned to look at him. I mean, think about it. First contact with an alien species. This could change everything for humanity. The captain studied the mysterious ship on their screen. "All right, but we do this carefully. Chen, keep trying to decode that signal. Rodriguez, you're with me on the boarding team. We'll take Martinez and Thompson as backup." An hour later, Alex found himself floating through the airlock that connected their ship to the alien vessel. His spacesuit felt heavier than usual, weighed down by both equipment and nervousness. The alien ship's interior was just as strange as its exterior. The walls seemed to glow with their own light, and the corridors curved in ways that made his eyes hurt if he looked too long. "This place gives me the creeps," whispered Officer Thompson through the radio. "Feels like we're inside some giant creature." Alex had to admit the man had a point. Everything about the ship seemed organic, as if it had been grown rather than built. The floor beneath their boots felt slightly soft, and the air they were breathing through their helmets had a sweet, unfamiliar scent. They made their way deeper into the ship, following corridors that spiraled inward like a seashell. Alex's scientific mind was racing, trying to catalog every detail. The technology here was clearly far beyond anything humans had developed. There were no visible control panels or screens, yet somehow the ship was still functioning after floating in space for who knows how long. "Captain, I'm reading life signs up ahead," said Martinez, checking his scanner. "Very faint, but definitely there." They rounded a corner and found themselves in a large circular room. In the center was what looked like a crystal coffin, glowing, with the same blue light as the rest of the ship. Inside, they could see a figure lying perfectly still. "Is that—" Thompson started to ask. "An alien," Alex finished, moving closer despite Captain Williams's warning gesture. "She's beautiful," and she was. Even through the crystal barrier, Alex could see that the being inside was unlike anything he'd ever imagined. She had pale silver, skin that seemed to shimmer, long white hair that floated around her face like she was underwater, and features that were both familiar and completely foreign. She was clearly humanoid, but there was something otherworldly about her that made his chest tighten. "Rodriguez, step back," Captain Williams ordered. "We don't know if it's safe." But Alex couldn't move. Something about the sleeping figure drew him in like a magnet. As he stared at her peaceful face, he noticed her eyes moving beneath closed lids, as if she was dreaming. Without thinking, He reached out and placed his gloved hand on the crystal surface. The moment his hand touched the coffin, everything changed. The crystal began to glow brighter, and a low humming sound filled the air. The sleeping figure's eyes snapped open, revealing the most incredible violet color Alex had ever seen. For a moment, they just stared at each other through the crystal barrier. Then, impossibly, he heard a voice in his head. "Who dares wake the daughter of shadows?" Alex stumbled backward, his heart pounding. The voice was female, melodic, but filled with a power that made his knees weak. The crystal coffin was dissolving like sugar in water, and the alien being was sitting up, her violet eyes never leaving his face. Captain Williams was shouting orders, and he could hear Thompson and Martinez raising their weapons, but all of that seemed far away. All Alex could focus on was the incredible being rising from what had been her prison. She stood gracefully, and Alex realized she was tall, maybe 6.5 feet, with a build that suggested both strength and elegance. She wore a form-fitting suit that looked like it was made of liquid metal, and there was a small crown or circlet on her forehead that pulsed with the same blue light as her ship. "I am Princess Zara of the Vexani Empire," the voice in his head continued, though her lips didn't move. "You have awakened me from stasis. Why?" Alex tried to speak but found his mouth too dry. Finally, he managed to croak out, We received your distress signal. We came to help." Something flickered in those violet eyes. Surprise, maybe? Help. The word seemed foreign to her, as if she'd never heard it before. "You are human, are you not? Your species is unknown to me." "Yes, we're from Earth," Alex said, finding his voice. "Our planet is called Earth." Princess Zara tilted her head, studying him with an intensity that made him feel like she was looking right into his soul. "Earth," she repeated. And somehow when she said it, the word sounded beautiful. "You have traveled far from your home to aid a stranger. This is unexpected." Captain Williams finally found his voice. "Princess, we mean no harm. We're explorers, scientists. We saw your ship was in distress." Her gaze shifted to the captain, then to the other two men before returning to Alex. "I sense no deception in you, Earth humans, but you have made a grave mistake in awakening me. I am—" She paused, and for a moment, Alex thought he saw sadness in her eyes. "I am not someone you should wish to help." "What do you mean?" Alex asked, taking a step closer despite every instinct telling him to run. "I am called the Deathbringer across 17 star systems," she said, her mental voice barely a whisper. "Wherever I go, conquest follows. My father, Emperor Malthek, created me to be his weapon. I bring worlds to their knees with nothing but a look." Alex felt his heart breaking for this beautiful, powerful being who spoke of herself like she was a monster. "That doesn't mean that's who you have to be." Princess Zara stared at him in shock, as if no one had ever suggested such a thing before. "You do not understand, human. I have no choice. I am what I was made to be." "Everyone has a choice," Alex said firmly. "That's what makes us who we are." For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Alex could feel something passing between them, some kind of connection he didn't understand. It was like a warm current running through his mind, and he had the strangest feeling that she could sense his thoughts just as clearly as he could. Hear hers. "Your ship," Captain Williams interrupted carefully. "What happened to it?" Princess Zara's expression hardened. "I was escaping. There was a rebellion on Kepler Prime, and I refused to crush it as my father commanded. For the first time in my life, I said no. His forces damaged my ship as I fled." "So you're a refugee," Alex said softly. "I am a weapon that has turned against its master," she corrected. "And now, because you have helped me, you are all in terrible danger. When my father discovers my location, he will stop at nothing to retrieve me." and he will destroy anyone who has aided me." The bridge of the Starlight felt different when they returned with Princess Zara. The entire crew had gathered to see the first alien any human had ever encountered, and Alex could feel the mixture of awe and fear radiating from his colleagues. Dr. Chen was practically vibrating with excitement as she tried to establish better communication protocols. "This is incredible! The linguistic implications alone will keep researchers busy for decades." But Alex noticed how Princess Zara held herself apart from everyone, her violet eyes constantly scanning for threats. She moved with the fluid grace of a trained warrior, and there was something in her posture that suggested she could become deadly in an instant if needed. "We need to contact Earth Command," Captain Williams was saying. "This is bigger than our mission parameters." "No," Princess Zara said aloud for the first time, her actual voice even more beautiful than the one in Alex's head. "If you contact your authorities, word will spread. My father's spies are everywhere. The more people who know of my location, the sooner he will find me." "Then what do you suggest?" the captain asked. Princess Zara looked directly at Alex, and he felt that strange connection between them strengthen. "I suggest you take me as far from here as possible and Leah." The approaching ships turned out to be a false alarm, just space debris that looked threatening on their old scanners. But the scare made everyone realize how serious their situation had become. Princess Zara wasn't just any alien visitor. She was someone powerful people wanted back, and that made the entire crew of the Starlight potential targets. Alex couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about what Princess Zara had said about their connection. Every time he closed his eyes, he could feel her presence somewhere in his mind, like a warm light in the darkness. It should have scared him, but instead it felt right in a way he couldn't explain. He found her in the ship's observation deck, standing by the large window that looked out into space. She'd changed from her metal suit into clothes Dr. Chen had found for her. Simple pants and a shirt that somehow looked elegant on her tall frame. Her silver hair caught the starlight, making her look like something from a dream. "Can't sleep either?" Alex asked softly, not wanting to startle her. She turned, and those violet eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. "Sleep has never come easily to me. Too many thoughts, too many memories I wish I could forget." Alex moved to stand beside her at the window. Out there, countless stars sparkled like diamonds scattered on black cloth. "Want to talk about it? Sometimes sharing helps." Princess Zara was quiet for so long that Alex thought she wouldn't answer. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she began to speak. "I was not born the way your kind are born," she said. "I was created in a laboratory on the capital world of our empire. My father wanted the perfect weapon, something that could bring entire planets to their knees without firing a single shot." Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean?" "I have what you might call empathic abilities," she explained. "I can sense the emotions of others, feel their fears and hopes. But more than that, I can project my own feelings outward. When I was young, my father trained me to use this gift to break the will of his enemies." She held up her hand, and Alex watched in fascination as a soft blue light began to emanate from her palm. "With this power, I could make entire armies lay down their weapons in despair. I could make proud kings weep with hopelessness. I became known as the Deathbringer because wherever I went, the spirit of resistance died." "That's horrible," Alex said, feeling anger on her behalf. "He turned you into a weapon when you were just a child." "I knew no other life," Princess Zara continued. "For 25 years, I conquered world after world for the Empire. I told myself I was bringing peace, that surrender was better than the alternative. But deep down, I knew I was destroying something precious in every person I touched." Alex reached out and gently took her glowing hand in his. The moment their skin touched, he felt a wave of emotion wash over him. Not despair or hopelessness, but something entirely different. Warmth, peace, and a deep sense of belonging that made his chest tight with emotion. "You're not doing that to me," he said wonderingly. "Whatever you're projecting, it doesn't feel like a weapon." Princess Zara stared at their joined hands in amazement. "That's impossible. My power has never worked this way before. With you, it feels like—" She paused, searching for words. "Like coming home." They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the stars wheel slowly past the window. Alex could feel her emotions flowing through their connection. Years of loneliness, guilt, and pain, but also something new. Hope, maybe, and a growing warmth whenever she looked at him. "Tell me about your world," she said eventually. "About Earth." Alex smiled, happy to change the subject to something more pleasant. "It's beautiful. Blue oceans and green forests, mountains that touch the clouds and deserts that stretch beyond the horizon. We have thousands of different cultures, languages, ways of life." "And war?" she asked quietly. "Some," Alex admitted. "But also art, music, literature. People fall in love, have families, create beautiful things just because they want to. Most humans spend their lives trying to make the world a little better than they found it." Princess Zara's eyes widened. "Your people choose to create rather than destroy?" "Most of the time, yes. We're not perfect, but we try to be better." "I have never seen such a thing," she whispered. "In the Empire, power is everything. The strong rule the weak, and mercy is seen as weakness." Alex turned to face her fully. "That's not the only way to live. People can choose to be kind, to help each other, to build something beautiful together." "Is that what you're doing with me?" she asked, and Alex could hear vulnerability in her mental voice. "Choosing to be kind?" "I'm choosing to care about you," Alex said honestly. "Not because I have to, but because I want to." Something shifted in Princess Zara's expression. The careful mask she always wore seemed to crack, revealing the young woman underneath. "I don't understand how you can look at me and not see a monster." "Because you're not a monster," Alex said firmly. "You're someone who was forced to do terrible things, but that doesn't make you terrible. The fact that you ran away, that you're here trying to find another way to live, proves that." Tears began to flow down Princess Zara's cheeks, glowing faintly with the same blue light as her power. "For so long, I believed I was nothing more than my father's weapon. But when I look at you, when I feel this connection between us, I remember that I am also a person with my own heart and mind." Alex gently wiped away her tears, marveling at how they felt warm against his fingers. "You're the bravest person I've ever met. It takes incredible courage to walk away from everything you've known. I was so afraid," she confessed. "When I refused to destroy that rebellion, when I saw the hope in those people's eyes and couldn't bring myself to crush it, I knew there was no going back. My father will never forgive me for defying him. Then we'll make sure he never finds—" "You," Alex said with more confidence than he felt. Princess Zara looked at him with wonder. "Why would you risk your life for me? Your people don't even know mine exist. You owe me nothing." Alex considered the question seriously. How could he explain that from the moment he saw her, something inside him had awakened? That every moment spent with her felt like his life was finally making sense? "Do you remember what you said about the chosen bond?" he asked. She nodded, her violet eyes searching his face. "I think you were right. I think we're connected in a way that goes beyond anything either of our species understands. When I'm with you, I feel complete for the first time in my life." Princess Zara's breath caught. "You feel it too? This pull between us?" "Like gravity," Alex said softly. "Like you're the center of my universe and I'm just a planet caught in your orbit." she laughed, a sound like silver bells. That's a beautiful way to describe it. Among my people, we would say our souls sing the same song. They were standing very close now, close enough that Alex could see flecks of silver in her violet eyes. The connection between them felt stronger than ever, like a bridge of light spanning the gap between their minds. "Alex," she whispered, and hearing his name in her voice made his heart race. "Zara," he replied, using her name for the first time without her title. The moment stretched between them, full of possibility and promise. But before either could move closer, the ship's intercom crackled to life. "All crew to stations," Captain Williams announced. "We've got incoming messages from Earth Command. They want a full report on our guest." The spell broke, and both Alex and Zara stepped back. Reality came crashing down around them like cold water. "They'll want to study me," Zara said, her voice flat with resignation. "Turn me over to your government for examination." "I won't let that happen," Alex said fiercely. "You may not have a choice. I'm a threat to your entire species as long as I remain free. What if my father's forces find your Earth while searching for me?" Alex felt panic rising in his chest. The thought of losing Zara, of watching her be taken away and locked up like some specimen, was unbearable. "There has to be another way," he insisted. Dr. Chen appeared in the doorway, looking uncomfortable. "Alex, the captain wants to see you both on the bridge. Earth Command is very interested in our situation." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Alex could feel the crew's eyes on them. Word had spread about his growing closeness to the alien princess, and he could sense their concern. Dr. Lisa Chen, in particular, had been giving him worried looks all day. "Alex," she caught his arm as they passed, "can I talk to you for a minute?" "Privately?" Princess Zara nodded and continued toward the bridge while Alex stepped aside with Dr. Chen. "I'm worried about you," she said bluntly. "You're getting too close to her too fast. We don't know what kind of effect her abilities might be having on your mind." "It's not like that," Alex protested. "What I feel for her is real." "How can you be sure?" "She admitted she can influence emotions. What if she's doing something to you without even realizing it?" The suggestion hit Alex like a physical blow. Was it possible? Could everything he felt for Zara be artificial, just her power working on him in some new way? "I can see the doubt in your eyes," Dr. Chen said gently. "I'm not saying she's doing it on purpose, but we have to consider the possibility." Alex's mind reeled. The connection he felt with Princess Zara was the most real thing he'd ever experienced. But what if it was all an illusion? What if he was just another victim of her empathic abilities? Alex's declaration of love hung in the air like a challenge to the universe itself. Princess Zara stared at him with those incredible violet eyes, and he could feel waves of emotion flowing through their mental connection. Joy, fear, hope, and terror all mixed together in a storm that made his head spin. "Alex," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "You cannot mean that." "I've never meant anything more in my life," he replied, stepping closer to her despite the shocked stares of the crew. Captain Williams cleared his throat loudly. "This is all very touching, but we have bigger problems right now. Earth Command isn't asking for Princess Zara to be handed over. They're demanding it." Before anyone could respond, the ship's alarm system went crazy. Red lights flashed everywhere, and a horrible screeching sound filled the bridge. Dr. Chen's face went white as she looked at her scanner readings. "Captain, we've got multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace," she announced, her voice shaking. 3 different fleets, all heading straight for us." "3?" Princess Zara's expression became grim. "That's impossible. Who else knows I'm here?" The main screen flickered to life, showing the space around their ship. Alex felt his blood turn to ice. Surrounding them were vessels unlike anything he'd ever seen. Some were sleek and deadly-looking, covered in what appeared to be organic armor. Others were darker, more angular, bristling with weapons that seemed to bend light around them. "The larger fleet bears the mark of the Vexani Empire," Princess Zara said, her voice completely calm despite the terror Alex could feel radiating from her through their bond. "Those are my father's ships. The smaller fleet belongs to Commander Risk, the rebel leader I once knew." "Once knew?" Alex asked. A shadow passed over her face. "He was someone I cared about, before I understood what caring truly meant. When I refused to help my father crush his rebellion, Risk thought I would join his cause. When I chose exile instead, he became my enemy." "And the Third Fleet?" Captain Williams demanded. Princess Zara studied the screen more carefully. "Those are ships I don't recognize. But if I had to guess, I'd say bounty hunters. Word of my location has spread faster than I hoped." Alex felt panic rising in his chest. "How many are we talking about?" Dr. Chen was frantically working her controls. 67 ships total. The Imperial fleet has 40 vessels. The Rebel fleet has 20, and there are 7 ships that don't match any known designs. "Against our one research vessel," Captain Williams said grimly. "Those aren't good odds." "We need to run," Alex said. "Get as far away from here as possible." "Where?" Princess Zara asked sadly. "They've found me once. They'll find me again. And next time they might follow me to your Earth." The thought of these alien warships showing up in Earth's solar system made Alex feel sick. Millions of innocent people could die because he'd fallen in love with a fugitive princess. "There has to be another way," he insisted. "There is," Princess Zara said quietly. "I could surrender myself to my father. He would take me home, and your people would be safe." "Absolutely not," Alex said fiercely. "I won't let you sacrifice yourself." "And I won't let you sacrifice your entire species for me," she shot back, her mental voice filled with determination. Before Alex could argue further, the ship shook violently. Sparks flew from control panels and the lights dimmed. "Warning shot," Captain Williams announced. "They're hailing us." "Put it through," Princess Zara said, straightening to her full height. The main screen split into 3 sections. On the left was a figure that looked like an older, more masculine version of Princess Zara, but with cruel golden eyes instead of violet ones. This had to be her brother. In the center was a human-looking man with scars covering half his face. On the right was something Alex couldn't quite make sense of. A figure in a helmet that seemed to be made of shifting metal. "Sister," the golden-eyed alien said, his voice dripping with false warmth. "You've led us quite a chase. Father is most displeased." "Hello, Kex," Princess Zara replied, using a tone Alex had never heard from her before. Cold, regal, and completely without emotion. "Still doing Father's dirty work, I see." The scarred man in the middle screen laughed bitterly. "So formal, my dear Zara. Have you forgotten our time together so quickly?" "I remember everything, Risk," she said, "including why I chose exile over joining your cause." "Because you're a coward," he snarled. "You had the power to overthrow the Empire, to free billions of enslaved beings, and you ran away instead." "I ran away because I refused to become another tyrant," Princess Zara replied. "Your rebellion would have been just as brutal as my father's." "Rule!" The figure in the metal helmet spoke in a voice that sounded like grinding gears. "Enough talk. The bounty on Princess Zara's head will make us rich beyond imagination. Surrender her now, and we might let the rest of you live." Alex stepped forward, putting himself between the cameras and Princess Zara. "She's under the protection of Earth. You want her? You'll have to go through us." All 3 alien leaders laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. "One primitive vessel against our combined fleets?" Prince Kex said mockingly. "You cannot be serious." "We're very serious," Captain Williams said, moving to stand beside Alex. "This is Dr. Rodriguez, our Chief Science Officer. And I'm Captain Williams. Princess Zara requested asylum, and we granted it. Your planet isn't even a member of the Galactic Council," Commander Risk pointed out. You have no legal authority to grant asylum. Maybe not, Alex said, feeling Princess Zara's hand slip into his. But we have something better. We have the right to choose who we help. Through their mental connection, he could feel Princess Zara's amazement at his words. The idea that people would choose to help someone just because it was right, without any expectation of reward, was still foreign to her. You're making a mistake that will cost your entire species, Prince Kex warned. Return my sister, and the Empire might consider trade agreements with your Earth. Refuse, and we will take her by force and destroy your world as an example. Try it, Alex said, surprising himself with his own courage. The screens went dark, and immediately the ship began shaking as energy weapons struck their shields. Shields down to 60%, Dr. Chen reported. We can't take much more of this. Can we make it to the jump point? Captain Williams asked. Not with 3 fleets. Hunting us, came the reply. Alex turned to Princess Zara, a desperate idea forming in his mind. Your powers. Could you use them against the ships attacking us? She shook her head. My abilities work on individuals, not machines. And besides, there are too many of them. Even if I could affect every crew member simultaneously, the effort would kill me. Then we need another plan, Alex said. Princess Zara was quiet for a moment, staring at the tactical display that showed the enemy ships closing in on them from all sides. When she spoke again, her voice was filled with a terrible resolve. There is one thing I could try, she said slowly, but it's dangerous for both of us. What do you mean? Alex asked, though he already suspected he wasn't going to like the answer. Our bond, she explained. It's stronger than anything I've ever experienced. If we could somehow combine our mental energy, amplify it through our connection, I might be able to project my power across space itself. That sounds incredibly risky, Dr. Chen said. It is, Princess Zara admitted. The mental strain could destroy both our minds, or it could create a feedback loop that burns out my abilities permanently. But it could work, Alex pressed. It might. But Alex, if something goes wrong, you could die. Or worse, you could survive, but lose yourself completely. Alex looked around the bridge at his fellow crew members. These people had become his family over the past 3 years. Dr. Chen with her brilliant mind and kind heart, Captain Williams with his steady leadership, Officer Thompson and Martinez, always ready with a joke even in the darkest moments. He couldn't let them die because of his choices. Tell me what I need to do, he said. Alex, no, Dr. Chen pleaded. There has to be another way. There isn't, Princess Zara said sadly, and I won't ask him to take this risk. I'll surrender myself. First? Like hell you will, Alex said firmly. He took both her hands in his, feeling the familiar warmth of their connection flare between them. We're in this together, remember? For better or worse. Princess Zara's eyes filled with glowing tears. You could lose everything. I already lost everything the moment I met you, Alex said softly. Everything I used to think was important just disappeared. You're my everything now, Zara. If we're going down, we go down together. She nodded slowly, understanding passing. Between them without words. Everyone else needs to get to the escape pods, Alex announced. If this doesn't work, you'll need to get word back to Earth about what happened here. We're not leaving you, Captain Williams said firmly. You have to, Princess Zara said. What we're about to attempt will either save us all or destroy this ship completely. Either way, you'll be safer in the pods. As the crew reluctantly filed out of the bridge, Alex and Princess Zara sat facing each other in the captain's chairs. The ship continued to shake under enemy fire, and he could hear the hull groaning under the stress. Are you ready? She asked, her mental voice gentle in his mind. Alex nodded, though his heart was racing with fear. Not fear of dying, but fear of losing her, of failing when she needed him most. Alex did as she asked. The moment Alex opened his mind completely to Princess Zara, The world exploded into color and sensation. Her memories crashed into his consciousness like waves against a shore. He saw her childhood in the imperial palace, cold and lonely. He felt her confusion as trainers taught her to use her powers as weapons. He experienced every moment of guilt and regret from the world she'd helped conquer. But mixed in with all that pain was something incredible. Through her eyes, he saw the beauty of distant galaxies, the wonder of civilizations beyond Earth's imagination, and the deep loneliness that had driven her to seek something more than power. "Focus, Alex," her voice whispered in his mind. "We need to reach out together." Their combined consciousness stretched across space like an invisible hand. Alex could feel the minds of thousands of alien soldiers in the ships surrounding them. Most were filled with the cold determination of professional warriors, but some carried fear, doubt, and homesickness that reminded him they were all someone's children, parents, or friends. Princess Zara's power flowed through their connection, but instead of the crushing despair she usually projected, something different emerged. Hope. Love. The possibility of a better way to live. It was like watching sunrise after the longest night in history. The effect was immediate and stunning. On the Imperial ships, Vexani soldiers began lowering their weapons. Some started crying, remembering family members they hadn't seen in years. Others questioned orders they'd followed without thinking. The rigid discipline that held the fleet together began to crack, but the strain was enormous. Alex felt like his brain was being stretched beyond its limits. Through their bond, he could sense Princess Zara struggling too. Her alien mind was better equipped for this kind of mental projection, but even she was reaching dangerous levels of exhaustion. "It's working," she gasped aloud, her physical voice strained. "But I don't know how long we can maintain this." On the screens around them, they could see the enemy fleets beginning to fall apart. Ships were breaking formation, some turning away entirely. But Prince Kex's flagship and Commander Risk's vessel were still advancing, their crews, apparently, immune to the empathic assault. "My brother has mental shields," Princess Zara explained, her thoughts becoming fuzzy with effort. "And Risk knows how my powers work. He's protected his core crew." That's when Alex realized something was wrong with his own body. His hands were shaking violently, and when he looked down, he saw strange blue veins spreading up his arms like some kind of infection. But it didn't hurt. Instead, it felt like electricity running through his bloodstream, energizing him in ways he'd never experienced. "Alex," Princess Zara said, her violet eyes wide with shock. "Something's happening to you." "I can feel it," he said, surprised at how calm his voice sounded. "It's like your power is changing me somehow." The truth hit them both at the same time. The mental connection they shared wasn't just allowing them to combine their abilities, it was actually transforming Alex's human consciousness into something that could safely handle Vexani empathic energy. His brain was adapting, evolving, becoming something new. "This shouldn't be possible," Princess Zara whispered. "Maybe impossible is just another word for something that hasn't happened yet," Alex replied, feeling strength flowing through him like nothing he'd ever experienced. The blue veins had spread across his entire body now, visible through his skin, like a glowing map of his circulatory system. But more than that, he could suddenly sense things that had been invisible before. The emotional state of every person on their ship. The complex web of feelings connecting the alien crews and the surrounding fleets. Even the subtle currents of empathic energy that flowed between star systems like cosmic rivers. "I can see everything," he said in wonder. "Feel everything. This is how you experience the universe all the time?" "Not like this," Princess Zara said, staring at him with something like awe. "You're not just adapting to my abilities, Alex. You're improving them, making them stronger, more precise." She was right. Working together, They could now target specific individuals across vast distances, planting seeds of doubt in the minds of enemy commanders while strengthening the resolve of anyone who showed signs of questioning their orders. But their success came at a cost. The transformation was taking a terrible toll on Alex's body. His human physiology wasn't designed to channel this much psychic energy, and he could feel something burning out inside him with each passing moment. "You're dying," Princess Zara said, her mental voice filled with horror as she sensed his condition. "Then we better finish this quickly," Alex replied, pouring even more of himself into their shared power. That's when Prince Kex made his move. His flagship suddenly accelerated, breaking through the confused ranks of his own fleet. Weapons charged, he aimed directly at the Starlight's bridge. "If I can't have my sister back," his voice crackled over the communication system, "then no one can have her." The blast that struck their ship was unlike anything Alex had ever experienced. Energy weapons designed to crack the hulls of battleships slammed into their research vessel. The Starlight's shields collapsed instantly, and explosions ripped through multiple decks. Alex felt the ship dying around them, but more importantly, he felt Princess Zara's pain as the attack severed their mental connection. The sudden disconnection was like having part of his soul ripped away. He screamed, falling from his chair as agony shot through every nerve in his body. "Alex!" Princess Zara was at his side instantly, her hands glowing as she tried to re-establish their link. But something had changed. The transformation that had been slowly altering his consciousness was now accelerating rapidly. The blue veins across. His skin were pulsing faster, and he could feel his entire being shifting into something that was no longer entirely human. "The connection," he gasped. "It's not broken. It's evolving." Princess Zara's eyes widened as she realized what was happening. Their bond wasn't just mental anymore. It was becoming something deeper, more fundamental. Two different types of consciousness, merging into something entirely new. "This is impossible," she breathed. "The ancient texts speak of such a thing, but it was considered myth." "What texts?" Alex managed to ask, despite the incredible sensations coursing through his body. "The prophecy of the Bridgewalker," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "It speaks of someone from another species who would come to unite the scattered peoples of the galaxy. Someone who could bridge the gap between different forms of consciousness." Alex felt the truth of her words resonate through his changing mind. He was becoming something unprecedented, a being who could understand and connect with any form of sentient life in the universe. But their reunion was interrupted by another massive explosion. Commander Risk's fleet had joined the attack, and the combined firepower of two enemy forces was quickly overwhelming their defenses. "The escape pods," Princess Zara said urgently. "We need to get you to safety." "No," Alex said, struggling to his feet. His body felt different now, stronger and more flexible than before. "I'm not running anymore." The blue glow that had been spreading through his veins suddenly intensified, and Alex felt his consciousness expand beyond anything he'd thought possible. He could sense not just the immediate area around their ship, but every mind in the entire star system. "I can feel them all," he said in amazement. "Every soldier, every commander, every person who's been forced to fight in wars they never wanted." Princess Zara looked at him with growing excitement. "Then show them what we've learned. Show them that there's another way." Alex nodded, understanding. Flooding through him, together they reached out once more, but this time their power carried something different. Not just hope or love, but actual memories of Earth. Images of humans working together, building beautiful cities, creating art and music, raising families in peace. The effect was instantaneous and profound. Across the enemy fleets, soldiers began remembering why they'd originally joined their causes. Imperial troops recalled their desire to protect their families. Rebels remembered their dreams of freedom for all beings. Even the bounty hunters started questioning whether money was worth the cost of so much violence. Ships began powering down their weapons. Some started turning away from the battle entirely. Others opened communication channels, asking for peaceful negotiations. But Prince Kex wasn't ready to give up. His flagship continued its attack, and Alex realized that Princess Zara's brother was too consumed by hatred and ambition to be reached by their empathic influence. "He'll never stop," Princess Zara said sadly. "He's too much like father." Then, "We'll have to stop him," Alex replied, feeling certainty crystallize in his transformed mind. The final confrontation was about to begin, and Alex knew that everything they'd fought for hung in the balance. But for the first time since this all started, he wasn't afraid. Whatever he was becoming, whatever they were becoming together, felt right in a way that transcended fear. The bridge around them was damaged and smoking, but Alex and Princess Zara stood together, their hands intertwined, ready to face whatever came next. The blue glow of his transformation had spread to her as well, and together they shone like a beacon of hope in the darkness of space. Standing together on the damaged bridge of the Starlight, Alex and Princess Zara watched Prince Kex's flagship approach for what would clearly be the final attack. The blue glow that connected them had grown stronger, and Alex could feel his transformation completing itself. He was no longer fully human, but he wasn't entirely Vexani either. He had become something new, something the galaxy had never seen before. "Are you ready for this?" Princess Zara asked, her mental voice calm despite the approaching danger. "With you?" "I'm ready for anything," Alex replied, squeezing her glowing hand. Prince Kex's voice boomed across their communication system one last time. "Sister, you have chosen poorly. This human has poisoned your mind against your own family. But I will free you from his influence, even if I have to destroy you both to do it. My brother never understood that true strength comes from connection, not domination," Princess Zara said sadly. "He's so much like father that I wonder if he can even be saved." But Alex was feeling something unexpected through their bond. As Prince Kex's ship drew closer, he could sense something hidden beneath all that anger and hatred, pain, loneliness, a deep sadness that the prince had buried so completely that even he didn't recognize it anymore. "He's just like you were," Alex realized. "Another weapon shaped by your father's cruelty. Maybe we can reach him too." Princess Zara looked at him with surprise. "Alex, he's tried to kill us multiple times." "So did you, in a way," Alex pointed out gently. "You spent years conquering worlds because you thought you had no choice. What if he thinks the same thing?" Before Princess Zara could respond, Prince Kex's flagship opened fire with everything it had. But this time, Alex and Princess Zara were ready. Their combined consciousness expanded outward like a shield, not just protecting their ship, but reaching directly into the mind of every person aboard the attacking vessel. What they projected wasn't despair or hope, but something much more powerful. They shared memories. Princess Zara's childhood loneliness, Alex's first sight of Earth's blue oceans, the moment they met and felt that incredible connection, the joy of discovering that love could exist even between completely different species. The effect on Prince Kex's crew was immediate. Hardened Vexani warriors began questioning orders they'd followed without thought. Some started crying as they remembered feelings they'd suppressed for years. Others began reaching out to comfort their fellow soldiers, rediscovering compassion they'd thought was weakness. But most importantly, Prince Kex himself stopped firing. "What? What are you doing to me?" His voice came over the communication channel, confused and frightened. "We're showing you the truth," Princess Zara replied gently. "The truth Father never wanted either of us to see." Through their psychic connection, Alex and Princess Zara reached deeper into Prince Kex's mind, past the layers of anger and conditioning, until they found the frightened child he'd once been. A little boy who'd watched his sister being taken away for training and had been told that emotions were weakness, that only power mattered. "I remember," Prince Kex whispered, his voice breaking. "I remember when we were children before Father separated us. You used to tell me stories about worlds where people chose to be kind to each other." "Those worlds exist," Princess Zara said, tears flowing down her face. "Alex showed them to me. We can create them together." The Imperial fleet, seeing their prince's ship standing down, began powering down their weapons as well. Commander Risk's rebel forces, caught up in the wave of emotional awakening spreading through the area, started opening communication channels instead of launching attacks. Alex felt the change rippling outward through space itself, carried by the psychic network that connected all Vexani minds. On distant worlds, Imperial governors began questioning their orders. Enslaved populations started believing that freedom might actually be possible. The rigid structure that had held the empire together for centuries was beginning to transform into something entirely new. But the real test came when Emperor Malthek himself arrived. The massive Imperial dreadnought dropped out of hyperspace like a dark moon, bristling with enough weapons to destroy entire solar systems. Alex felt Princess Zara's fear spike through their connection as her father's ship approached. "He's here," she whispered. "I can feel his mind from here. Cold and empty, like a black hole that devours everything around it." Emperor Malthek's image appeared on their communication screen, and Alex understood immediately why Princess Zara had been so afraid. The Emperor looked like an older, crueler version of his children, but his eyes held no warmth at all. They were like looking into the void between stars. "My foolish daughter," the Emperor said, his voice carrying power that made Alex's newly enhanced mind recoil. "You have brought chaos to my empire with this ridiculous notion of love. But I will restore order, even if I must destroy you to do it." "Father," Princess Zara said, standing straighter despite her fear, "I challenge you to the right of succession." Alex felt shock ripple through the Vexani fleets. Apparently, this was something significant. "The ancient law," Prince Kex breathed over the communication channel. "She's claiming the right to rule through trial by combat." Emperor Malthek laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You would face me in single combat? You who ran away rather than fulfill your duty?" "Not single combat," Princess Zara said firmly. "The right allows me to choose a champion. And I choose Alex Rodriguez of Earth, my chosen bond, the Bridgewalker prophesied in the ancient texts." The Emperor's laughter died. "Impossible. The Bridgewalker is a myth." "Look at him," Princess Zara said, gesturing to Alex, whose entire body was now glowing with blue energy. "Look at what our bond has created. Two species, united as one consciousness." The prophecy spoke true. Alex felt the weight of destiny settling on his shoulders. According to ancient Vexani law, if he could defeat Emperor Malthek in combat, Princess Zara would become the rightful empress. But this wasn't just about winning a fight. This was about proving that love was stronger than fear, that connection was more powerful than domination. The combat took place in the space between their ships, both combatants protected by energy fields that allowed them to breathe and move freely. Emperor Malthek wielded powers that had conquered hundreds of worlds, attacking Alex's mind with waves of despair and terror that would have crushed any normal person instantly. But Alex wasn't normal anymore. Every attack the Emperor launched was absorbed by his connection to Princess Zara and transformed into something else. Despair became determination, terror became courage, hatred became compassion. More than that, Alex could feel the support of thousands of minds across the fleet. Soldiers who had rediscovered hope, rebels who remembered their original ideals, even Prince Kex, lending his strength to the fight for a better future. The turning point came when Alex stopped defending and started sharing instead. He opened, his transformed consciousness completely, showing Emperor Malthek every memory of love and kindness he'd ever experienced. Not just his own memories, but those of Princess Zara, of the crew of the Starlight, of billions of humans back on Earth who chose cooperation over conflict every day. For the first time in decades, Emperor Malthek felt something other than cold, ambition. He felt the warmth of a parent's love for their child, the joy of friends laughing together, the simple satisfaction of helping someone in need without expecting anything in return. It was too much for a mind that had spent so long focused only on power. Emperor Malthek collapsed, not from physical defeat, but from the overwhelming realization of everything he had lost in his pursuit of control. I had forgotten, he whispered, looking up at Alex with eyes that suddenly seemed very old and very tired. I had forgotten what it felt like to care about something more than winning. It's not too late to remember, Alex said, offering his hand to help the fallen emperor up. But Emperor Malthek shook his head sadly. For me it is. I have done too much harm, caused too much pain. But you can build something better on the ruins of my empire. With his final breath, Emperor Malthek transferred the imperial crown to Princess Zara, acknowledging her as the rightful ruler of the Vexani Empire. 6 months later, Alex stood on the balcony of the new imperial palace, watching ships from dozens of different species arrive for the first meeting of the Galactic Unity Council. The Vexani Empire had become something unprecedented, a voluntary alliance of worlds working together for mutual benefit rather than conquest. Princess Zara, now Empress Zara, joined him at the balcony railing. Her official title was impressive, but Alex still just thought of her as the incredible woman who had changed his life with a single look. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked, her mental voice as warm as ever in his mind. "Giving up your humanity to be with me?" Alex considered the question seriously. His body was still human in shape, but his mind had become something far more complex. He could communicate with any species in the galaxy, sense emotions across vast distances, and understand forms of consciousness that humans couldn't even imagine. "I didn't give up my humanity," he said finally. "I expanded it. Everything that made me human, the ability to love, to choose hope over fear, to believe in something better, all of that is still here. It's just bigger now."